So my name is Amy Farah Weiss. I'm running for mayor and I'm supporting a ranked choice voting strategy to replace Ed Lee. Vote 1, 2, 3 to replace Ed Lee. Myself, Francisco Herrera, and Stuart Schuffman are aligning in that way. And just to let you know, I got my start in local politics back in 2011 when a Chase Bank was displacing 2 businesses on Divisadero, and I got involved with my neighbors, Dean Preston, Quentin Mecke, Gus Hernandez, to go to City Hall and go to the Board of Appeals and ask why we weren't getting due process in order to have neighborhood input into that decision, because there was something called formula retail law that Matt Gonzalez passed in 2004, and we were supposed to be able to have a say, and we weren't. And that's a lot that's been happening in this administration. You know, that same issue of what happened on Divisadero happened on Market Street, where instead of Ed Lee asking, why are these businesses being kept empty, why are they blighted, they gave a tax break to Twitter and other organizations to move in, which gave a huge bonus to these property owners. So they had been contributing to blighting by not really playing by the free market and renting out at what the market would bear. And then they got to be rewarded for that. I asked Ed Lee recently, since he says that eviction protection is one of his main issues. I got to meet him about a few weeks ago, and I said, do you support Jane Kim's Eviction Protection Act? He asked if she had even finished writing that yet, but she had introduced it to the Land Use Committee a week and a half prior. So not only is he not staying on top of the things that he's saying are his #1 priorities in his campaign, he's not even paying attention. And recently he just said he's going to push out the homeless. I actually have a background in transitional housing and mental health, also in education and research and strategy. I'm someone who creates programs. I created a program at SF State while I was there because there wasn't a way to connect graduate students with nonprofit organizations. I created something called the CBO Support Project. And I have ideas about how we could actually treat the root causes of homelessness rather than push it away for the Super Bowl games.
So we have time for questions, 3 minutes starting now.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for Amy? No questions?
Sure.
We talked about it before, but what will we do with the city properties? I teach at City College, and we're terrified that the Balboa Reservoirs and 33 Gough Street is going to go to the Blums because they're in line to buy that for quote affordable housing.
Well, you know, this went back all the way to Dianne Feinstein, right? She was trying to build housing there, and parking was an issue for CCSF. And so when I actually went and listened to the meetings for Balboa Reservoir, and I came up with something that puts CCSF at the top of the list in terms of who needs to benefit from this project. We do need to create affordable housing, but we could also be using some of that space to create industry that ties in with CCSF programming. But we can figure out, I think we might have to build a parking tower there. But what's interesting is that parking towers, what you can do with them, there's also, like, I've been really looking into tiny houses and things of that nature, and if it got to the point where we were able to give incentives to students where they could take public transportation or bike or other things besides cars to get there, and we could cut down on the cars, we could actually reuse that parking structure in a way for housing potentially in the future. So these are ways that we can think about it in a succession planning approach. Yeah.
So this is supposed to be a very low turnout race, and so how would you promote civic engagement in races to come so that we aren't in this position?
Well, one of the things that I support is the Vote 16 SF, and if I had had an actual budget with my campaign, I'm running on a shoestring. Most of it went to going to my filing fee, and I have $500 left in my account. So I'm doing all this just labor of love. I really believe in it, right? But I think that if I'd had the budget, I would have actually engaged young people in this process of doing a youth vote. Interestingly enough, this is one of the years that they're not doing a youth vote in the schools, and so isn't that convenient? But yeah, I would like for us to be promoting young people getting involved in the process.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Amy.
Thanks.
All right.